I mean, there's a lot of things you can do without spending money. Hey, can you post this on social media? I'm trying to grow my business. I want to make this sustainable.
To help their business, I'm not going to take their business.
We're a friendly company. We love all the companies that are involved in this industry as long as you're doing the right thing and you're treating your people right.
So, obviously I talk marketing. And so I get a lot of these clients that'll come to me and say, hey, I want to market my IV biz. I want to ask you a two-part question. If I'm someone that's just starting, it's just me, I'm a one-man show, maybe I'm trying to leave the hospital. For those people, and you've been there, what would you suggest they do for marketing? And then the next step is being, the more established business. I'm kind of curious your take on that. But for that individual just wants to get more IV clients, maybe they're just starting, what do you normally tell them to start?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do without spending money, and a lot of things that cost a lot of money, of course. Like if you're going to market on Google and Facebook, Instagram, those types of things, they do cost quite a bit. You can put little bit of money through there, but boots on the ground. You can go into auto dealerships. You can call plumbing companies. You can call roofing companies. When their workers are overrun and run down, they can't continue to work, and those jobs don't get completed. So those individuals that run those companies, they can actually write off, depending on the state and their circumstances, they can write off their deduct the cost of the IV for their people, because you're providing them with education as well, with health and wellness, taking care of themselves. Sometimes they can actually get decreases on their insurance as well, because you're providing them with some more benefit for their team. So going into auto dealerships, talking to them, talk with the manager. Sales manager usually is the best one. Going into warehouses where they're working all day, things like that. Just kind of putting feelers out there. You don't have to present yourself too much. Just give them the idea, maybe touch base with them later on, get their number. You can send out emails to companies. Emails aren't as personable, and a lot of people just delete them if somebody's trying to solicit you or something like that. So boots on the ground, going into places. If you're not running calls at the time, go do that. Go make some calls too. You can call from your home. You can use ChatGPT to write up a really nice email if you do it that way. And even for text messages to re-engage your people, the people that you have seen before, you can reach out to them. And then your friends and family are huge. Obviously, it's kind of hard to ask them, but when you're first starting, friends and family, if they want to build up your business and help you out, send them something to post on Facebook or Instagram. That way your name gets out there. Send them your business card. You got to do some of the work for them and make it easy for them. If you do that, then it's a lot easier to kind of get yourself walking before you don't want to run too fast and just be like, blast out 100 emails or text messages to your friends and family that are just like, hey, can you share me? Like if you go individually with people, they'll know that you're taking the time. If you're like, hey, I have this person who has a ton of followers, maybe put a little bit more effort into that. Talk to them, tell them why there's a benefit to their people that they're going to share it with. And then you can write influencers online as well. Maybe get them a free IV or something like that, things like that. If you're just starting out, every single patient, I would ask, hey, can you post this on social media? I'm trying to grow my business. I want to make this sustainable. And they will do it if you do a good job and you're taking care of that patient. But for the quick and fast, you can go on Facebook groups as well. And some Facebook groups don't like you to sell your stuff. But if you provide some instances like, hey, this patient had a migraine, we came to them and we took care of their migraine. They were totally fine afterwards. Share their review, something like that. Maybe a picture if they signed the consent form to be okay with that. And then you can kind of do it that way as well. A lot of those companies, pages on Facebook kind of block that from now on. But if you reach out to the moderator, you can actually ask what you can post and what's appropriate.
Oh, so my brain's all going marketing now because that's where I go. So I want everyone watching this to like not get overwhelmed. So I always want tactical. Yeah. Right now, just today, first of all, if you're ever going to give free service, guys, and I don't know if Johnny ever did this, but for especially a lot of you, some of you are not the best at asking for money and you're not good at holding people accountable. So if you want, comment below and I'll get this if you're watching the live stream. But I have an agreement that I made back when I was doing a lot more IV consulting for a trade out. And my suggestion is if you're ever going to give an influencer a free treatment or whatever it is, don't just say, hey, I'll give you a free treatment and do this. Just say, hey, I just need you to sign this real quick. And it shows the actual value of the service. That's $270 because be honest, Johnny, as anyone that's ever gotten a free IV, very rarely will they ever come back and pay full price after they do it because they don't know, they don't associate the value. So the cost of the service, and then they're just saying, hey, I acknowledge that I'm exchanging in order to trade $500 of service, I will post on, and we will literally list 3 or 4 social medias, and they can check off story, TikTok, whatever it is. But it just kind of lays it out like, this is a transaction. You're not paying me money, but I've always found that that works really well. And then the other thing that's really important I had is I always have a release on the bottom saying, any social media I do where I tag this business, they have the right to use it later. Because I know friends that have had celebrities come in for treatment and they were like, this is great. And then they got a cease and desist later because they tried to use that picture for something. So just something, doesn't have to be fancy. I have one. If you guys want, just want to comment on my social media, I'll get it to you guys. And again, Johnny is the person that's done this. I'm just the nerd with the ideas. So I want to make sure I don't take that away. The other thing I was going to say is you were talking about, oh man, I lost my train of thought. Businesses. I love networking. Obviously that's why I know Johnny and stuff. Go find other businesses in your area, guys. And Johnny can speak to this. Go to a salon and go, hey, I want to find a way to send more people to you. Keep in mind, the word is, how can I send people to you? Say, I have upscale patients. How can I send more people to you? And then while you're doing this, this is just me. Give them a free IV. You're meeting with the manager of salon, take them to coffee. Be like, hey, would you want an IV? Ask the coffee shop if they're okay with it. Give it to them. First of all, it's a great photo op if they're down. But now you've given something. There's that reciprocity. He wants to give back. And maybe you spent $50 on a bag cost, but that salon owner knows 12 stylists. Maybe you go, hey, how would it help you if I came in one day and gave all your stylists IVs and just said that you paid for half? Now you're making him look good. You get to their people, but those people all have that reach. And so you're going where your ideal clients are, and maybe it's an upscale salon, maybe it's a massage studio, those things. But I've seen that work really, really well. But the key word is, I used to own gyms and people would come to my gym all the time because we had 500 members and be like, hey, we would like to sell your people this. And it's like, okay. But if they came to me and said, hey, I want to help you out. What if I gave all your people a complimentary massage one afternoon or whatever? And they made it to where it benefited me. That was always a huge thing. And so the cool thing is, just like Johnny and I are in the same industry. We help each other all the time now because we all have the similar clients and customers and stuff. And so learning to create those relationships, if you serve them initially, it will come back 10 times over. Just can't encourage it up, but go in with the intention of, I'm going to help their business. I'm not going to take their business, and it will always do more for you.
And that's a great point, Justin. Like what we do when we go to a new area, the IV world is so competitive, and a lot of people are a little bit, I wouldn't say worried or whatever, but they're a little bit like apprehensive with other companies because there has been some negative like clashing with companies and people attacking other companies. And the way that I view it, and I say it all the time, is we're focused on the pie, not our individual slice, because as the pie grows, our slice obviously grows. So when we go to a new market or something like that, or if we see another company that we hadn't seen before, we'll always contact them and say like, hey, you guys offer Botox. We're 100% mobile. We don't do Botox. We don't do semaglutide or anything like that right now. So when we go into that market, we'll reach out to them and I'll just be like, hey, when we have a client that needs Botox or something like that, because we do get asked that quite a bit, can we send them to you? How can we contact you guys and send that client to you? Because the way that we do it, our dispatchers, they're absolutely amazing. We have 22 of them that are just, they're great. And when they get the patient information, they'll talk to the patient, and then the patient will say like, oh, do you guys offer Botox as well? And they're like, no, but I can get you in contact with this company. So we'll actually ask them, make sure they're okay with it. We'll send that other company the patient's information for them to reach out, instead of like, hey, patient, this company is great over here. They offer this service, and they'll reach out to you. We did that at the beginning because we didn't want to send their information to them and then have them bother them or anything like that. But what we found was that patient wouldn't really reach out to them. They'd go do their own research. So instead, we now connect the patient to the company, and then the company reaches out to them, which has a lot more follow through. And those companies that are very apprehensive about this, after sending them a few clients and patients, then they'll start reciprocating and doing it back, because they understand that we're mobile. We do have the reach. We have so many people that we're usually able to cover most of the calls that come through. And if we can't, we have other companies that we can refer them out to as well, because we're a friendly company. We love all the companies that are involved in this industry. As long as you're doing the right thing and you're treating your people right, we work with you. We want to send those calls to other companies. That way that patient is taken care of and they enjoy this industry, not just our company and our people. but it does reciprocate after a short period of time. Sometimes a little bit longer. We've been sending calls to a company in Texas for quite some time, and they wouldn't send it back, but I'm like, someday it's going to happen. And literally probably about a month ago, they sent us 3 patients. And then a little bit after that, a little bit more, and it's just really nice to see.